Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gen Z Capitalist. Today, we're going to talk about when should you sell your Bitcoin? Such a tricky question, especially as a Bitcoiner myself. I've always said never sell, never sell. But there's so many questions on the internet. People are asking like, "Oh, are you going to hoard your wealth forever? Are you never going to use your money?" I want to clarify a few distinctions. There's a difference between never sell your Bitcoin and never spend your Bitcoin. Never started Bitcoin. When we think about sell, you when you buy Bitcoin, the word buy, you're implicitly saying you're still thinking in terms of US dollar. You're talking about you're buying Bitcoin with your dollar, right? People are not saying I'm selling my US dollar into Bitcoin. I haven't heard anybody say that because obviously Bitcoin is still a very small market cap compared to the US dollar. But it doesn't mean you cannot spend it. So in the future, or even right now, you can send Bitcoin to somebody in exchange for goods and services. In fact, Satoshi himself or her, we don't know, right? Satoshi said the value of Bitcoin comes from the price people are willing to accept and provide a service. It's only valuable if somebody will, if I want to if somebody say, I'll pay you one Bitcoin to do some task, obviously one Bitcoin is worth a lot today. So it's not even going to be worth that much. But back in the day, you might be sending somebody 200 Bitcoin for a task. So that's the first distinction. Never sell your Bitcoin means never sell it into a different currency. Because if you look at every currency in the last 10 years has depreciated against Bitcoin. And I want to emphasize Bitcoin is the end game, right? There's not a price for me to sell. Um, But maybe there's a situation we will sell, which we'll get to it. But Bitcoin is the end game. It is the best store of value. But when should you start with Bitcoin? You should start with Bitcoin when you want to do something in the fiat world. That doesn't support direct Bitcoin payment yet. For example, if you have a business idea, right? Bitcoin is a valuable currency and commodity because the base layer of money, when it's firm, people can build very complex businesses on top of it. It's like a very firm. It's like bedrock of money. But it doesn't mean it will be the most performing asset forever. For example, Nvidia, I think for the last year or for the last couple of years has returned better because money ultimately you still need to invest the money and produce goods and services. So that is one example, right? If you want to start a farm, and right now other workers might not accept Bitcoin for payment, you still have to sell your Bitcoin into fiat currency and do these things. Um, as Bitcoin gets more and more popular, or the network gets larger, more people are willing to natively take Bitcoin. Like, for example, I'm an engineer. I would definitely be willing to work for somebody if they in exchange they just pay me Bitcoin, right? So that's the value of the current that's the value of Bitcoin is that I'm willing to provide goods and services. I'm willing to work to get this magic or people call it what? Um, like pet rock, right? It is a pet rock. It just has the largest decentralized network in the world, and it has a fixed supply, and government cannot print more of it, and that's all I need. People say, you know, U.S. government, the U.S. dollar has the strongest military, has the government has full faith of the U.S. government. But what Bitcoin doesn't have? The Bitcoin doesn't have a national debt. Bitcoin doesn't have Social Security. Bitcoin doesn't have Medicare or Medicaid. So, um, title might be tricky. Like if you click into 10 videos telling you when you should sell Bitcoin, most of them are about price prediction. Like I'm selling at 200K, I'm selling at 300K. I do not think that way. Bitcoin is the end game. If you look at Bitcoin 10 years ago, you know, if people could go back in time, people will say, "Oh, I'll never sell." But it's going to be the same situation. I think the only exception when you can sell your Bitcoin is you want to build a productive business. You think it's going to grow faster than the Bitcoin network. For example, like if you sold your Bitcoin to into fiat currency and you buy Nvidia stocks or you buy equity, right? That might be one acceptable way. But even then, you are not really um, you're not keeping the fiat currency. Like you're still purchasing equipments, right? Equipment that's inventory, that's technology, that can be machineries, or you can buy equity. right? You still own like shares of companies. So ultimately, as a store of value, Bitcoin is just better than any other currency. And, is a global decentralized uh, financial network. And every day, people inject more energy into it because people who have useful skills, like myself, I'm an engineer. I'm actually an engineer of different discipline, and I'm able to provide valuable services to other people. And if I'm willing to work for this pet rock, eventually it becomes valuable. And because all of the fiat currency keeps inflating, um, that's why the Bitcoin network, that's why the price of Bitcoin keeps going up, right? So there's no get rich quick scheme here. If you follow my channel, I'm all about like logical, rational reasoning about why I purchased these assets and my strategy about them. And yeah, in summary, to answer the question of today's video, when should you sell Bitcoin? You should only sell Bitcoin when um, you want to build a productive business and you think you have a higher interest rate. You have a higher, sorry, not interest rate, ROI, like return on investment than the Bitcoin network. So, for example, let me ask you this. We all know the Russian rubles are in trouble right now, right? But it doesn't mean every Russian business will fail. I bet there's some Russian businesses, despite, their business can be just so successful. The ruble, they might be depreciating like 10% a week. Maybe they can make 50% a week. You know what I'm saying? So building a business in fiat currency is the same thing. Like I'm giving you an extreme example because Russia is at war right now and their currency depreciates very fast. But the US dollar is in the exact same situation, but it is in a much better situation. But the nature of the problem are the same. When you build a business in fiat currency, you have to accept the depreciation of that currency. So as we move to like a Bitcoin circular economy, whereas people, farmers, different people, you know, people who produce these goods and services are willing to take Bitcoin as native payment, that's when we can completely forget about other currency and build on top of this solid foundation. Thank you for watching.